Simon Cowell is a judge who is known for being extremely straightforward. Most of the time he is tough, but would you believe us if we told you that something new made him and his partner Lauren Silverman cry? Their son Eric has changed so much that Simon was left speechless. This isn't just the story of a kid growing up, it's also the story of a big change in the life of one person that has left the Cowell family changed. But what happened that made the strongest TV critic cry? Let's find out about what changed this well-known family for good. Because he was so honest on American Idol, at Britain's Got Talent, and The X Factor, Simon Cowell became famous for giving tough comments. A lot of people would watch just to see his famous snarky comebacks and eye rolls. Simon made a living giving tough love, but there's a softer, less public side of him that fans don't often see. In real life, Simon was a worker who gave his all to his job. He made it clear that he didn't see himself as a family man. In fact, he once said in an interview that he never wanted kids because he was afraid that having them would make his busy, demanding life harder. This way of thinking had defined Simon for almost a decade, which is why the sudden turn of events that followed shocked everyone. When his close friend and celebrity Lauren Silverman told him she was pregnant with his child, everything changed. People were shocked by the news because Simon had always been clear that he didn't want to be a dad and Lauren was already seeing someone else. Even though things weren't easy, Simon was a great dad when Eric was born in February 2014. After that, things changed dramatically in Simon's personal life. Simon started to show a whole new side of himself as a dad. This side was more patient, thoughtful, and loving than the tough judge he played on TV. He talks a lot about how Eric has changed him and made him rethink everything, from his future to how to balance work and life. Fans are surprised by how the change in Simon's goals has made it harder to tell the difference between his public and private life. Love and family can change even the harshest TV reviewer. Just look at his relationship with Lauren and their journey as parents. Just when everyone thought they knew Simon, becoming a dad has shown a new, more emotional side of him that has even surprised Simon. That busy, crazy life of a pop star wasn't good for kids, right? Simon Cowell used to say in interview after interview, "I don't think I'd make a good dad." He was sure that having a family wasn't in his future. But in 2013, Lauren Silverman, who was married to Andrew Silverman, a close friend of Simon's, said she was expecting Simon's kid. This turned everything on its head. Not only did the news shock everyone because Simon is strongly against being a dad, but also because of the complicated and embarrassing circumstances of Lauren's pregnancy. Simon didn't run away from the public drama. He quickly warmed up to the idea of having a child, which was a big change for the man who everyone thought would always be single. Simon had a son named Eric in February 2014, and he named him after his late father. Simon has often talked about how much becoming a dad has changed his life. The first time he held his baby, it had a strong effect on him right away. Eric made Simon rethink his values, and he went from calling himself a workaholic to someone who really puts family first. Even though Simon seemed tough on the outside, he was filled with love and a new sense of duty. There were some hard times when I became a dad. In the middle of the public eye, Simon, 54, took on a part he had never planned for. Still, he said many times that becoming a dad was the best thing that ever happened to him, and taught him that life is about more than just fame and money. Every day, his relationship with Lauren got stronger, and his relationship with Eric got stronger. Now the critic who used to be stressed about his job and said he'd never have kids opens up about how happy Eric makes him. No one could have guessed how much Simon would change when he became a proud, loving dad. To show how much love a child has the power to change even the most difficult people, like Simon Cowell. The relationship between Simon and Lauren. When they first started dating, there was a lot of scandal and public attention. The news came out in 2013 that Lauren, who was married to Simon's friend Andrew Silverman at the time, was going to have Simon's kid. The news caused a stir in the media and ended Lauren's marriage. Even though there was a lot of public drama, Simon and Lauren lent on each other and slowly turned their attention from the chaos to getting ready to be parents together. Simon had always been open about being a bachelor, saying that he didn't see the point in getting married or having kids. That is, until things changed with Lauren. At first, their affair caused a lot of shock, but over time it turned into a healthy relationship centered on family. When their son Eric was born in 2014, Lauren helped Simon get used to being a dad. She turned him from a dedicated bachelor into a more caring and responsible parent. They've worked together to give Eric a safe and caring place to live, and Lauren has been there for Simon as he got used to being a dad. Over the years, Simon and Lauren's relationship only got stronger, even when they had to deal with problems in their own lives. Then, while on a lovely trip in Barbados in 2021, Simon asked Lauren to marry him, which caught everyone by surprise. Simon used to be against marriage, so this was a big step that showed how much he had changed and how much their friendship had grown. The controversial beginning of their relationship seems like a long time ago now that they lived together as a close family. For Simon, this proposal showed not only how much he had grown as a person, but also how strong and deep their relationship was. What started out as a famous couple's relationship has grown into a deep connection and a shared desire to raise Eric. The early years of Eric. Eric Cowell was born on February 14, 2014, which was a big day in Simon's life. Eric's coming has changed Simon's life and made him happy, even though he used to say he wasn't meant to be a dad. It was clear from the moment Simon held Eric in his arms that this new part of his life would be very different from the last. Fans were used to seeing a judge on TV who was known for being tough-talking and having sharp features. Simon was surprisingly excited about becoming a dad, and he was able to balance his busy job with all the fun things that come with being a dad. He talks a lot about how real joy it is to see Eric grow up. Over time, he became known as both a media mogul and a hands-on dad who made time for family vacations and fun times. Eric's mom, Lauren Silverman, was very important in making Simon a loving dad and giving their son a normal, stable home life. Because Simon has a famous life, he and Lauren made sure Eric had as normal a childhood as possible. Lauren took care of a lot of the day-to-day tasks of being a parent. This let Simon and Eric spend time together and get closer through bedtime stories, jokes, and daily practices. Simon has said many times that becoming a dad gave him joy and satisfaction that he didn't expect. His life has changed since Eric came into it. He now values family more than his intense work schedule. When Eric started to get older, Simon thought about his own childhood and the ideals his parents taught him. He wanted to teach his son the same things. Watching Eric become more confident, kind, and interested makes Simon proud, which is something he says he never thought he'd feel. Simon's journey into parenting changed his life in many ways, and it also showed him a side of himself that is full of love, patience, and strong family bonds. Along with Eric's growth, something unexpected happened that would change the family in ways Simon didn't expect. The unexpected changes in Eric. His parents, Simon and Lauren Cowell, had no idea that Eric would change so much, a change that would truly be a turning point for their family. As a child, Eric was known for being happy and fun, but as he grew up, his parents and everyone else were surprised by how sensitive and complex he became. As Eric grew up and gained more perspective, Simon, who is usually calm and collected, broke down in tears as he saw how much his son was changing. By the time he was 10, Eric was more kind and understanding than his years showed. It was amazing how well he could understand and connect with other people's feelings, which often moved Simon deeply. Simon had been shy and emotionally detached for a long time, but he admired Eric's natural emotional intelligence. Simon hadn't always had that trait, but he thought it was a great thing about his son. This new emotional growth brought the dad and the kid closer than ever. They started having deep talks, and Simon let down his guard around Eric in ways he hadn't with anyone else. Because Eric could listen and was interested in what his dad had to say, Simon felt comfortable telling Eric stories from his own life. These times strengthened their relationship. Simon finally felt safe being open and honest with someone, his own son, for the first time. Fans had never seen this side of Simon before. Eric's drive to change the world was one of the most impressive things about his growth. Many kids of famous people don't like being in the spotlight, but Eric wanted to use it to do good. Simon had a whole new view of life after seeing his son find meaning in things other than family and fame. It made him think about the kind of legacy he wanted to leave behind and made him admire and value Eric even more. One of the most important things in Simon's life was seeing his son grow into such a loving, purpose-driven person. It changed him as a father and as a person. When Eric grew up and became an adult, it changed the way the Cowell family interacted. Family goals, shared values, and exciting ideas for making the world a better place started to come up more often at the dinner table. Eric's newfound thoughtfulness and kindness moved Simon and Lauren to make more of an effort to spend quality time with their family. This made everyday life more connected and important for everyone. Eric's growing knowledge and empathy didn't just inspire his parents, it also changed how they talked to each other, making it easier for everyone to focus on helping each other and finding meaning in their lives beyond their own hobbies and interests. It was a big turning point for the whole family with this change. As someone who was known for getting things done and not wasting time, Simon found it very moving and eye-opening to see his son grow into such a kind and caring person. Simon had to rethink what family meant to him after seeing Eric find his own meaning in life. It even gave him a new outlook on life itself. Eric's growth as a person also had a strong and long-lasting effect on how Simon became a father. Simon began to think about his role as a parent, as Eric changed from a curious kid to a more independent and self-reflective teen. He realized how important it is to be emotionally present for his son. Because of this new knowledge, Simon realized that the time he spent with Eric was worth a lot more than just being there for him. Simon decided to make some big changes in his life and the way he raises his kids after seeing how empathetic and kind Eric was. He had always been very focused on his job, but he started to shift some of his attention away from work and toward his family, when he realized how valuable and irreplaceable the time he spent with Eric was. Simon's relationship with his son grew stronger as they went in this new direction. It was clear that Eric's growth had made him a more open, loving, and present father than ever before. Because Eric changed, he and his dad started having more in-depth talks. Simon found himself talking about and learning from many of the things that happened to him as a child. During these intense talks, he learned something about his son that made him proud and humble. Eric's emotional growth had inspired Simon to make similar changes in his own life. Not only did this change affect their relationship, it also had a big effect on Simon's health choices. As Simon watched his son grow, he became more and more aware of how important it was to put his health first. Eric helped Simon stop smoking, which he had been doing for a long time. Simon talked a lot about the new sense of duty being a dad gave him, making sure to stress that it wasn't just his work obligations. He chose to stay alive as long as possible so that he could be there for Eric as he grew up. Because of this, he made some big changes to his life to make sure he could stay busy and help raise his son. Eric's lesson turned out to be a strong lesson for Simon. Being successful isn't just about being a business leader or becoming famous. It's about building relationships with the people who matter the most to you. Life has many sides. Simon's journey, which used to be about being a career-focused mogul, turned into that of a loving and active dad. People can be at their best when things change in ways they didn't expect. What Simon's parents left behind. What really made Simon Cowell who he is today, not just to himself but to everyone else, was what his parents left behind. His interactions with his mother, Julie Brett, and father, Eric Cowell Sr., were very important in shaping who he was. Simon always talks about how much he loves and appreciates his parents and how they had a big impact on his life, especially by teaching him to work hard and be responsible. This important legacy has shaped Simon's life and the way he raises his children, showing him how important family values and deep ties are. Eric Cowell Sr., Simon's father, was a leader in the music business. This was Simon's first experience with the entertainment business, which would go on to shape his career. The bond between Simon and his mother, Julie, was very strong. In addition to being someone who helped him, she was his friend and guide throughout his life. As Simon became famous, Julie stayed out of the press and always there for him, being his rock. During the low points of his career, her quiet strength and wisdom kept him emotionally stable. Her belief in him was a big part of how he rose to the top of his field and now enjoys it so much. When Simon's mother died in 2015, it was a terrible blow that made him think a lot about himself. Since then, he has been very open about how much her death affected him. His sadness over the death of his father in 1999 had to come up again when she died. After losing both parents, Simon told a friend that he didn't think he could ever connect with anyone as deeply again until his son Eric came into his life. Simon's loving way of remembering the memories he held dear of both his parents was by naming his son after his dad. Eric Cowell Sr. had a huge impact on how Simon did his business. Simon says that his father's even temper and modesty helped him get through the ups and downs of show business. Simon learned from Eric Sr. how important it is to follow his goals and trust his gut. These are the principles that Simon says helped him build his empire. Simon is still feeling the love, wisdom, and advice that came from his family as he deals with the challenges of his job and his role as a father. So, Simon's choice to name his son after his father shows how much he respected and loved him, showing how close they were. When Simon talks about the beliefs his parents taught him, he always says that he wants to share those values with Eric. Simon is determined to teach his son the same love, patience, and direction that his parents gave him. They left a lasting impression on Simon, and it shows in both his work and his desire to be a caring father. Simon's parents left him a permanent gift that has had a huge impact on his life. They taught him how important family is, how Simon changed personally. Eric Cowell has made big decisions about his family's future, which have affected not only Simon's personal life, but also the relationships and teamwork between everyone in the family. Since he was born, Eric has been the center of Simon and Lauren's relationship. He brings them together and helps them make decisions as a family. In the past, Simon only cared about his work. Now that he is a father, he makes time for quality time with Eric, which makes him a more involved and caring dad. One of the most important changes Eric has brought about in Simon's life is this major turning point. Simon has started to rethink his goals after being known for being a workaholic. He stopped doing some of his work-related things to make sure he could be there for Eric. He knew that the easy times they spent together, like going on trips or just being there, were much more valuable than the never-ending grind of show business. This change not only brought Simon and Eric closer together, but it also made the family stronger. Furthermore, Eric's impact went beyond emotional bonds. It also led to big changes in Simon's health and way of life. Simon is paying more attention to his health because he wants to be a good model for his son. He has done real things to improve his health, which shows that he really wants to be a present and involved dad. By doing this, he hopes to be able to be there for Eric as he grows, building a strong relationship based on love, support, and shared experiences. There are a lot of big changes in Simon's life because Eric is in it. This shows how fatherhood can change and grow a person in surprising ways. Simon wanted to stay involved in Eric's life for as long as possible, so he took a number of important steps to make sure he could live a full and busy life. His desire to be a healthy dad shows how deeply Eric changed Simon's view of the future by telling him to put the happiness of his family over short-term habits or outside pressures. This change in Simon's outlook was a major turning point in his life. It freed him to focus on making his son's surroundings safe and caring. Growing up, Eric's changing personality had a big impact on the way the Cowell family was going. Eric's interest and sense of humor pushed Simon and Lauren to try new things together that focused on helping others and supporting each other's interests. Simon's recent projects started to fit in with his family's goals and values. This turned their talks at home into group discussions about things that brought them closer together. Looking ahead, Eric's presence makes sure that the Cowell family will always be based in love, shared experiences, and growth for all. Simon thinks a lot about how Eric changed his life and how he changed what it means to be successful, not just in his work, but also as part of a strong family unit. As Eric grows up, he will definitely have an impact on their family's future, showing them how important it is to have relationships that count. Simon and Eric worked together on a project. The change in Simon did not end there, though. After that, he and his son Eric made a heartwarming and unexpected artistic team, which took their relationship to a whole new level. Their work together is a nice change from the usual father-son connection, and it shows how their relationship has grown beyond family ties to include a shared artistic goal. This relationship not only shows how close they are getting, but it also shows how much they both enjoy being creative. They try out different kinds of art together, using their own unique ideas and points of view to make projects that speak to both of them. Stephen Simon has said that working with Eric has not only been enjoyable, but it has also given him a new way to look at his own work, which often gives him new ideas. Because Simon and Eric work well together, they've been able to make projects that show off their shared creativity and beliefs. The fact that they work together shows how strong family ties can be, showing how love and respect can drive artistic expression. There is a great balance between mentoring and working together in this project. Simon can help Eric while also benefiting from his son's new ideas and energy. In this way, Simon and Eric's creative work is a celebration of their relationship. It shows how Simon has changed from someone focused on their job to a devoted father who loves the chance to connect with his son on many levels. It serves as a reminder that family at its heart can spark amazing creativity and leave behind a legacy that goes beyond traditional lines. Recently, Simon has talked about how Eric's creativity and interest have led to new projects, such as an exciting plan for a children's book series that will feature both of them. A different side of Simon comes out in this project that not many people in his life have seen before, as he lets his son shape their shared vision. The idea for the book series came from a lively talk with Eric. Eric's energy inspired Simon to write. Because Simon knew so much about the business, he was able to improve this idea into something better than either of them could have made on their own. Simon's work has always been organized, planned, and based on a strong sense of what the public wants. Simon's imagination has become more playful and spontaneous since he started working with Eric. He often thinks about how Eric's ideas give him a new, exciting viewpoint that he couldn't have come up with on his own. Because of this, working together is a real convergence of their ideas. Simon has made it clear that he enjoys working with Eric and that their partnership is a nice break from the often serious and dramatic world of TV and entertainment. The silly and lighthearted themes of the books let Simon show a more carefree and happy side of himself, which is very different from how he acts in public, where he is usually very serious. The balance between Simon's years of knowledge and Eric's youth and innocence is what makes this collaboration so special. Simon, a seasoned professional, organizes and guides the stories with skill, making sure they have a compelling flow and hit home with readers. Eric's efforts, on the other hand, are full of wonder and creativity, giving the stories a magical quality that sets them apart. Together, they bring two very different points of view together to create something truly amazing. Simon can guide Eric while also giving him the freedom to explore his ideas in different areas. This creative relationship between Simon and Eric is more than just a business deal. It shows how close they are as friends. There is a significant chance for Simon to connect with his son in a new way. Eric sees it as a chance to use his imagination and work with his dad on something that will last. Not only are they making a unique body of work together, but they are also strengthening their relationship by working together. They are building a base of love, respect, and mutual inspiration that will last forever. Simon and Eric's deeper bond is shown by the work they do together, which also shows how Simon has changed from a career-driven person to a dedicated father who knows that the real joy is in the process of making something together. How Eric changed the future of the family. Eric Cowell has had a big impact on the future of the Cowell family because he is a beloved family member. His presence has changed not only Simon's personal life, but also how the family works together and interacts with each other. Eric became the heartbeat of the family as soon as he was born. He brought everyone closer together and had a say in important choices that would shape their journey. Simon used to be known for always putting his work first. But when Eric showed up, Simon's goals changed in a big way. As he put his bond with Eric first, he started to make decisions that were good for the family and loved spending time with his son. This new way of thinking was very different from his old one, and it made him realize how important it was to be there for his child. Eric may have made the biggest change in how the family balanced work and life in the future. In the past, Simon's job was all he thought about, and he often worked non-stop. But as he learned to change his goals so that he could be more available for Eric, he cut back on some professional obligations. This change gave him more time to spend with his family, and it showed that he had a newfound respect for the simple pleasures of being a dad. Simon slowly realized that these times with his family, whether they were on trips or just hanging out at home, were much more important than the hard work of show business. This understanding made the bond between Simon and Eric stronger, which made the family stronger. Eric's effect went beyond emotional connections. It also affected Simon's health and the choices he made about his life. Simon made many good changes in his life, like giving up smoking, so he could be there for Eric for as long as possible. He promised to change his lifestyle for the better, stay fit, and focus on being involved in his son's life and activities. Eric has not only changed Simon's identity as a father through these changes, but he has also pushed him to live a more complete and satisfying life. Having the desire to be a healthy and present dad shows how Eric has changed Simon's view of the future from what it used to be. This change puts the health of the family in the long term ahead of short-term habits or pressures. As Eric got older, his changing attitude had a big effect on how the family spent their time together. His ability to be interested and understanding led Simon and Lauren to try new things together, putting more value on helping each other follow their interests. Talks at home stopped being about Simon's newest TV projects and started being about family values and goals. The family was able to work together better after this change, planning their days around activities that brought them closer. Going forward, Eric has made sure that the Cowell family's future is based on love, shared adventures, and growth for everyone. Simon often thinks about how Eric has changed his life and what success means to him now. Not just by reaching job milestones, but also by building a strong family unit. Eric will definitely have an impact on his family's future, keeping them focused on the relationships that really count as he grows up. Thank you for coming along with us on this emotional trip through Simon Cowell's amazing change as a dad. It's clear that his son Eric has changed his life for good. Which part of Simon's story shocked you the most? Share your thoughts in the box below.